Hello everyone, Physicus here. Welcome to another tutorial. In this one we will cover the usage of the AGM-65L, which is the laser-guided version of the Maverick missile. I recommend watching my tutorial about the optical versions of the AGM-65 before watching this one. I will leave a link to it in the description of this video and in the info card on the screen. This tutorial is not intended to be an extensive explanation about this weapon and its associated systems, but I believe that if you follow this tutorial, you will be able to use this weapon effectively. Let's get into it. Preparation. Prior to the mission in the 2D map, you can configure the laser code for the LMAVs on the loadout screen. This step is not mandatory to do here because you can change the missile's laser code in the aircraft. However, if you're using this weapon, I highly recommend you perform this change here, as the method to change the code in the air isn't exactly straightforward, as we will see later. Changing the laser code for this weapon is done exactly the same way as any other laser-guided weapon. You click on the laser code, input a value, then click Set Code. When you're done, click OK. Set up inside the aircraft. Once you're inside the aircraft, go to air-to-ground mode. The SMS page for this weapon is mostly like the optical guided variants of this missile, with the notable differences that the release pulses and the control page are not present, meaning that there isn't an auto power on feature. Power on the weapon. The time it takes for the LMAV to be ready for use is considerably smaller than the other variants. It just needs to run the bit. After it's finished running it, go to the weapon page. If you're familiar with the optical version of this missile, this weapon page should look quite similar as well. The obvious differences being the laser code on top of the display, as well as the scope with the gimbal indicator, which is currently across, meaning it's not tracking a laser signal. If you need to change the laser code in the aircraft, you will have to make the weapon page SOI by pressing DMS aft. Then switch the sub-mode to bore. You then have to enable the cursor by pressing TMS forward. You can then move the cursor with your radar cursor keys. Go to the L, press TMS forward once more. When you do this, you unlock the laser code. You can now change it. The way to change the laser code for this weapon is unfortunately quite convoluted. When this cursor is under one of the numbers, you will have to wait until they cycle, and when they are in the value that you want it to be, you need to press TMS left. I'm currently trying to input the laser code 1622, so when it's 2 on this number, I will press TMS left. I now need to cycle to the other values by pressing TMS left again, keeping in mind that it will require several TMS left presses because TMS left also cycles the polarity of the weapon. The values will only start the cycle if the polarity is in WOB. In WOB, the numbers will start the cycle again. Continue inputting TMS left when the value is the one that you wish. Unfortunately, if you make a mistake, like I did, I inputted a 5 instead of a 6, you will have to go through the other digits before being able to come back around to correct your mistake. After your laser code is correct, press TMS forward once to lock the code in place. You will also need the TGP to be emitting the same laser code as the one the missile is looking for. Like other laser-guided weapons, change the laser code using the ICP and the DED. Go to List, press 0 for MISC, and then 5 for laser. Perform the changes needed on this page like I demonstrated on my laser guided weapons tutorial. One field that does not require a change in this page is the laser ST time. This weapon requires the laser to be fired prior to being launched, and then you will not be able to auto laze. You will have to manually laze the entire time of flight. Deploying the weapon. Once I'm in the target area and with the missile powered on, I make sure that the code that's on the weapons page matches the one in the laser page in the DED. I then arm my laser and go to the TGP page. With the TGP page as soy, look for a target and then press TMS forward once. After the target is in a point track, make the weapon page soy by pressing DMS aft. You will then need to uncage the missile with the uncage button on your throttle. You know that the missile is uncaged when this S is displayed. Once it is, press DMS aft to go back to the TGP page. From this page, manually fire the laser by pressing on your first trigger detent. You will see that the L blinks on the TGP as well as on the HUD. As you will notice on my weapon page, I currently have an X that is blinking. This means that the missile is not tracking that laser, it's outside of the missile scope. I will have to maneuver the aircraft for this laser designation to be inside the missile scope. Once it is inside the missile scope, it will change to a solid rectangle. Once the solid rectangle is displayed, I press and hold the weapon release button. After the missile is launched, I hold down the first trigger detent to keep firing the laser manually. And there we have it. The Laser Maverick allows you some standoff range and enables another source, like another aircraft or JTAC, to guide the weapon for you with the correct laser codes. However, there are a few downsides. The process to change the laser code in flight isn't straightforward, and unlike the optical versions of this missile, it is much more difficult to launch two missiles at two different targets in the same pass. Also, unlike other laser-guided munitions, you will have to manually laze for the missile prior to launch and during its entire flight time. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.